Hi there folks, my name's Novawing24 and welcome to another review of an ESP, an FSX and prepared product. So today we are having a look at something which I think is kind of cool, kind of different. And as you can see, we are not on land. So we are here today having a look at the recently released carrier pack, I want to call it, so the latest, or I think maybe the final installment of the Enterprise series of add-ons from Team SDB. So that being the release of the CVN-65 final cruisers. So what is this add-on? Well, first of all, before we get into that, we do want to say thank you very much to the team to Team SDB for providing me with the review copy of this add-on today. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is a little bit of nostalgia for me here because for those who've been following my YouTube channel for a while, you will probably know that carrier or naval aviation is something that I really enjoy, and I definitely sort of don't get to do as enough of, especially these days, as I've used to do in the past. In fact, there is actually, it was one of the first ways that I actually sort of got back into sort of community aspects of flight simulation. I joined a group of aviators known as the Tiger Squadron many moons ago. And in fact, I do believe there is a video somewhere on my channel of where I actually sort of was flying with them and actually got my deck qualifications with those, which was kind of cool. So yeah, I've always really loved and just been fascinated by the idea of actually sort of landing a whole, several tons of metal on, a moving postage stamp in the ocean. So it's kind of cool, kind of fascinating. And when Team SDB sort of approached me and said, "Hey, we'd like you to have a look at our latest release," I was actually sort of say, "Yeah, I'd love to. But it's going to be a bit of a wait until next year." And they said, "No, that's fine. You need a chance to have a look at it and give it a go." And I have been flying on and off this thing for weeks now, and I am absolutely loving it. I really am. So probably spoiler on how this review is probably going to go. But anyway, so Team SDB, so a bit of background on these guys. So Team SDB are a bunch of scenery designers. They've been going for many years, mostly I believe based out of the UK, though I think they are a bit more international these days. And one of the things that they are known for was the Enterprise pack. So much in the way that most carrier naval aviation is done, and carrier ops are done in the FSX and prepared world, sort of relies very heavily on the freeware USS Nimitz from Javier Fernandez, combined with Lamont Clark's AI carrier tools. Team SDB sort of brought to life the USS Enterprise, and they've done several renditions of it throughout their time doing this one, and this is the latest one, and this represents the Big E, as she is known, or she was known before she was scrapped, when she was in her final few years of operations. So and what's interesting about this one is that the Team SDB have actually sort of really gone out of their way to actually sort of take advantage of all the other things that the community have done, as well as the advances in sort of the flight simulation platforms as well. And they've come up with their sort of what I think is pretty much the most spectacular one that they've actually ever come up with, which is this one here. And this rendition is designed for all. It will work with all of the different ESP platforms. So we've designed for FSX, FSX Steam, prepared in all its glory, all the way up through to and including prepared V4. Now the prepared V4 one does have a special set of gauges and whatever because it is 64-bit, of course. But as I said, it maintains compatibility with all of them, which is great to see. Alright, so I can hear a lot of people sort of asking, why would I buy this, buy an Enterprise when you can get the Nimitz, the freeware Nimitz, and you know what, you have a valid point, you do indeed. However, the similar argument could also be made for SimWorks Studios, with their renditions, with their updated renditions of the Nimitz class as well. They're up to, I think, the Nimitz and the Midway classes, and they're up to about 4 packs now, I think, as well. And it's really, and I think this one here really has a lot of content here. It does rely on a bit more extra install work, which is probably the downside of the Team SDB pack. If you want to get the full experience of it, there is some extra stuff that you do need to do that's not in the installer, and we'll get into that probably a little bit later on. Alright, so as I said, what do you get with this pack? Okay, so basically you get the USS Enterprise in two different formats. You get it as she appeared with her air group in 2006 and 2012, which was her final cruise. Along with that, you also get a series, you get some escorts, you get Arleigh Burke, to say frigates, I think they're actually destroyers. So you get two different types of Arleigh Burke destroyers. You get the Flight 2 and Flight 2A of different variants as well. So they're the ones that actually had the proper, not only did they have the helipad on the fantail, they actually had the actual hangar space as well. Now, along with just the sort of basic models, you also get quite a lot of animations and a lot of detail here. Like, for example, here you get a custom air wing, and you get these AI SH-60 plane guard helicopters that will actually sort of accompany you during your operations here. And you get a lot of custom animations that go through on both the not just carrier, but also on the Arleigh Burke cruisers as well, which we will hop over and have a look at very, very shortly. So as I said, there's a lot going on in this one, and I did want to sort of showcase it as much as I could. Now, what we might do, we might take this opportunity actually to have a look at some of those animations while we're here. Now, so I'll showcase some of these, then I'll get into what some of the things where, as I said, why you need to get some extra add-ons as well. Alright, now let me just get this camera moved to the right position, just moving it around. I think that should be a good position to show what I need to show off. Okay, so once you've installed it and installed it correctly, you will actually sort of get a little sort of menu in your, we'll just sort of pop my menu up here. You'll get in your add-ons menu, you will get an SDB ship configuration will pop up here as well, but there is a keybind for that as well. Now we'll bring up the carrier CVN-65 last cruises, so it essentially pops up this little window here where you can toggle your elevator up or down. So we'll see that go down there as well. It's kind of cool. You get like the horn go off there, and you actually get the deck rails all pop up as well. So again, much like the freeware one does as well. Now on top of that, you also get custom lighting. You can actually turn flood lighting on for the deck as well, which is probably not so much effective during the day, but you can actually do it, which is important. You also get to toggle the flight deck layout. So I said that I like to use the crowded one because it is an actual working carrier then, or you can have it as a completely clean carrier, and you can see my little aircraft just sitting there waiting for our operations there. Okay, alright, so let's put those aircraft back on there, and let's bring the elevator back up. Right, so there you go. Now, you also get a similar menu to that as well for the Arleigh Burke destroyers, which are in the... which are our escorts for this. Now, I just want to make sure that these are on. I'm going to put the... only thing about these pop-up menus is they don't say I'm very on there. Hang on, okay, I was going to toggle the white light on for when we get there. Okay, that's fine, and we will have a look at those barrier nets once we get out to the destroyer. Right, so as I said, you get sort of those little tools there as well. Now, one of the things that I was sort of talking about before was the fact that it's not a completely self-contained add-on, this one. If you want to get the most out of this, you do need to do a couple of things extra. Now, when I said that there was two sets of models in here, there's actually, seriously showing me, the 2006, 2012, there's actually 4 sets of models. So there's 2006, 2012 for standard flight sim setup. So if that says standard ESP flight simulator setup, and then there is a 2012 version for the Royal French Navy modifications, and that is the extra bit of work that you have to do if you want to get the most out of this add-on, because a lot of stuff gets integrated with that. Now let me see if I can sort of try and move this camera a bit quicker. There we go. Kind of maybe. Alright, okay. So it's a bit hard to see while we're actually sort of just zipping around here, but the floss systems, or the meatballs as they're called, So that system is been overhauled and redesigned. So as you see, if you're using the standard carrier, the floating carrier ones, you just use the standard one, which is basically just the one that the freeware Nimitz does, and also that the standard default carriers inside of the ESP platforms use. If you use the RFN models and you have the RFN gauge and content installed, it will instead use their system. Not only will it use their lineup system, so not only use their sort of guides there, it will also, if I can, oh yeah, and see, this is the kind of detail this here. It's like, yeah, we've actually got everybody included with their correct air wings, like, that's cool. What there will also be, while we back this up here, okay. Now, unfortunately, you don't get to see it while we're just sort of in this sort of camera mode, but we will get to see it when we do some flight operations very shortly. There is actually a set of, they actually model the lineup assistance system, which is off the fantail of this, which is basically a series of eye-safe lasers, which based on the color will show you whether you're left or right of center. So it's a really, real cool setup. As I said, it's a bit involved in coming in. But it gives you, as I said, it gives you access to all these extra tools. It also gives you access to an LSO calls as well, which is always very, very important for anybody who does any carrier ops. You get access to the LSO calls. You also get access to a TACAN and a ILS system for actually coming in and for actually line up an approach as well. So there's a lot going on if you do add that on. Now, because of the way in which RFN, Royal French Navy, actually licensed, because it's a freeware add-on, because of the way they actually license it, they don't permit it to be included inside an installer, and you do have to download and install it separately. The instructions are fairly clear. The links are all included in the manual for the Enterprise, so all the links that you need are there. But as I said, it's just that it is an extra step to be aware of if you want to get the most out of your add-on here today. That's really pretty much what you just so you're aware of that. All right. So what we might do is we're going to jump. We're actually going to swap our aircraft out. I think because before I want to show you the flying sort of stuff with the aircraft, I do want to showcase why this add-on is not just for naval fixed-wing pilots, but is also going to be for naval helicopter pilots. So we're going to quickly swap out our aircraft, so bear with me while I do that for a moment. Alright, so there we go. So just transferred over to a MH60 Romeo, the default one that comes inside of Prepared. So what we're going to do is we're going to power this one up. We're going to go for a little jaunt over to one of our escorts, and you can see some of the cool animations in that one and some of the effectiveness of that system there. Alright, so let's get ourselves on board and all that done. Alright, so as I spool up there, now what I wanted to show you guys was, while this powers up, so let me just bring up, so this is one of the things that you add in when you add in the Royal French Navy gauge. So not only do you get the, sort of, it adds all this really cool stuff in there, but it adds, most probably importantly, the carrier gauge itself, which is a two-part gauge. So the first part is basically a direction finder, but it's a TACAN sort of direction for navigation aid, but it also works as a approach mode as well. You've got a couple of other tools here as well where you can actually have your landing systems officer actually sort of guide you in when you select it there. Long range lineup system, which is that was the name that it was escaping while I was talking about the ISO laser system. That was on, so there you go. But more importantly, you got the TACAN gauge here, which allows you to switch between things. Now I've taken the liberty of sort of pre-programming two here. So what we've got here is, I'm just going to swap between these frequencies. So it's tuned into DG95 USS J.E. Williams. So that's one of our escorts here today, is that we're going to be flying. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly out to that ship, and you're going to be able to see how this sort of gauge works, which I think is a pretty cool way to do it. Alright, okay, so what we'll do is here, I think everything's all good. We are ready to go. Alright. Pretty basic cockpit, this one, but there you go. Okay, alright. Alright, so that's where we're going to be heading out to, is going to be that one over there. So we'll just a banking turn around to that. That carrier gauge over there, I think. Okay, so you can see on that gauge there that you can see that the direction point is putting it where it is, and it's got its distance to carrier and the ship that we're landing on. Got everything there that we need, so, and the ship name underneath as well. So we're gonna, now you have to forgive my terrible helicopter flying abilities here, folks, but we'll get this. We'll come in. Now, in order to get this gauge to display, what you have to do is you have to add in, as I said, there's an overall gauge that you have to add into your sim. As the words of the LSO. The LSO may not be the most accurate, though, for when you're coming in for helicopter landings, but he's very good for coming in on...
Come back to center.
So the ILS does work quite nicely. I'm going to be way too fast. There we go. Okay. Is that all very challenging? I can feel all the helicopter sim pilots just cringing as I'm trying to do all this. Alright. There we go. Okay. Well, there you go. We're down. Nice. Okay, we got it. So yeah, so you do get your approach markers there, you do get the LSO calls. The LSO calls probably better for the fixed stuff rather than this, but you know, it's still got us the guidance down here. That's what it's always good to have. Now, what I did want to show off while we're here is I'm just going to put some parking brakes on. Alright, let's jump to an outside view. Alright, so there we are on the outside. Let's have a quick camera sort of pan around the outside of this Arleigh Burke class as we come through here. Again, another beautifully designed model that's come through from this one. All custom animations. As I said, I like to show it off because I said it's this kind of stuff that it means it's not just for your more traditional fixed-wing naval aviators. If you are a fan of frantic palm trees and other vertical landing and taking off machines, this is something that you probably may want to consider picking up because of this kind of stuff that's got in here. Now, now that we've had a quick look at that, this is the other thing I want to show you off because we did sort of show that we had a couple of different options in that little menu system we had before. So we're going to bring up that menu system again now. There, so we can go add-ons. and we bring up the Arleigh Burke menu, and then we've got the safety nets and hangar doors. So you'd actually so during flight ops, of course, those safety nets are down, hangar doors closed, but then during normal ops, they're actually sort of being sealed up. So it's actually kind of cool that you've actually got sort of, you know, a Seahawk filling the hangar bay, you know, you've got everything lining up, and it just adds something more to the experience. It really does. So yeah, I just really wanted to show that off. All right, okay, that's pretty much what I want to show off here today. So let's jump back in here, and then we're going to head back out to the carrier. Alright, so we're back on board. So now we've got to get ready for our flight ops again. So we're going to go back to configurator, and we're going to button those doors up and open up the safety rails. I don't think we'll see it because it's the daylight, but just in case we do. Yep, so you do have floodlights here. As I said, I did look at them during the night. They are very impressive. It makes everything light up quite nicely. So there we go. Alright, cool, we got that. Alright, I think that's us. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring up our TACAN gauge again, and we're going to swip our frequencies back to USS Enterprise, CVN-65 2012. So there we go. And I'm going to make it over to TACAN. There we go. Alright, and so the gauge even pops up with a little sort of green bar text to actually let you know what it is tuned into. So, alright, let's get this airborne again. Ship drift away from us. I said you get 4 different Arleigh Burke class destroyers are included in this pack. I haven't got the names with me. I'll probably try and remember to flash them up on the screen here, perhaps when I'm editing. It said two different variants, and in each of the cruisers they do get put together for a little pack. Now, I'm just going to head over back to the Enterprise here, back to the Big E. It is actually a chance that I'm actually going to chat about one of the. I haven't got a lot of issues with it. Actually, there you go. You can actually see the lineup system over there. There we go. So you got that's the main landing sort of the meatball lights. I don't have the ISO flavors of the illumination system. There's probably a chance for me to talk about one of the bugs that I do have with it. So. And I'm hesitant to say whether it's I feel like it may even be my system, but I'm not 100% sure. So included with this are some traffic files that are representative of the cruise and where it actually operated. So they were Middle East cruises during 2012. So it gives you some representations of where the ships who actually sort of sailed, where roughly the operations actually took place. Now, the issue I seem to have with the traffic files was that they sort of basically they do a racetrack pattern, where they do a racetrack pattern which is fine. Standard traffic files used to go through a set of locations. So, and that's a pretty standard thing, and that's fine. That's not an issue. But what I seemed to notice was that very consistently the ships would not turn around when they hit the end of their racetrack pattern. They'd be cruising along happily at 20 knots, no problem at all, and then they get to their end of their racetrack sort of course that the traffic file has them doing, and then they just stop dead. They wouldn't do the turn, the odd 90-degree turn that sort of traffic ships normally do. It just simply stops dead. And that was valid across all for 4 of the traffic files that I tested. There is a 5th one that I didn't test. So that's the only real bugbear that I have. What we're seeing here is one of the AI carriers 2 sort of preset loadouts or sort of preset formations. So that's what we've got here, and I've put that at a custom location, which looks exactly the same as the one that you get if you do find one of the traffic files out in the world, except I'm able to control it and set it going. So that's just something to be aware of. There is another big barrier. Well, we'll get to that after we've done some fixed-wing flight ops. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change over from this MH-60R. We're going to jump back into the T-45 Goshawk, and then we're going to go for a quick circuit around the carrier. Alrighty, so we are back on board, and actually, guys, this is probably a really good chance to actually, if I just touch that in a little bit, to show off some of the other things here. So, as I said, like the rear elevator does go down, so you can sort of take yourself below deck. And the below decks aren't empty, like completely empty either. Like we do actually have, you know, Super Hornets in here. I think. Excuse me. So we get Super Hornets, and there's EA6Bs in the other one. So yeah, you do have plenty going on. Like it's very much a living deck, which is all very, very cool and awesome for that one. And so it's nice to see that, you know, this was still one of the cruisers that actually still had, you know, aircraft with actual proper full colours on as well. Yes, anyway, so let's get ourselves on board. We'll get our Hawk started up, and we'll get our Hawk into the air, and we'll do a catapult launch, and then I'll probably break the video a little bit while I depart the carrier pattern, and then we'll come back into it and see if I can actually make a fool of myself on a recording of doing a carrier approach, see if I can actually remember. As I said, I've been practicing with this for a few weeks now, so hopefully I'll get it right, but you never know when it's on film. Alright, but in the meantime, let's get ourselves on board the Boeing T-45 Goshawk and get ourselves underway. Alrighty, okay, so now as you can see, I've got the carrier gauge installed here as well. Just going to move that over to that side as well. On, power up. Okay, so we're all set for the carrier. There we go. Alrighty, okay, so we are all engines started. Let's line ourselves up on Cat 1. Now, all 4 cats are operational, but obviously when you've got the crowded deck set up, Cat 2 is not operational. You could, I suppose, just shoot through the actual things there, but, you know, that's fine. Alright, latched in. Now, this is what I want to show off, as I said, some of the animations pop up. So, you actually have the deck launching officer actually sort of pops up there, and his control board, that actually all sort of pops up there once you actually lock into the cat. The steam catapult effect as well, I believe, is unique to the Prepared V4 edition. So, that is one thing that I'm not sure why, but I understand from the manual that it is. But anyway, alright, okay, I think we are green to go. Alright. Flaps 1, throttles up, spooled, nothing like that feeling of being shot by a catapult, even if it is only virtually. Right, okay, obviously you can see it increasing, the distance increasing there, that's fine, as expected. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to break this video. We're going to come back to this video as I come into approach the carrier circuit. And as I said, see if I can remember how to do my brakes and everything else and get ourselves onto the deck safely. Alright, I'll rejoin you in momentarily. Alright, so we're just coming back now, so we're about 6.5 miles from the carrier, and you can actually just see it already starting there. So that's the long-range lineup system, as I said. So what it does is it changes color, and it also changes the rate at which it pulses, whether it's pulses or steady, as depending on how far off center line that you are. So at the moment, I think we are very left of center. So that's why we've got the pulsing red at the moment. So yeah, it's a kind of cool, interesting little system there. So it's coming in here, 1,500 feet, dropping the hook. So what we're doing is we'll execute our overhead brake as we go over the carrier, and then we'll go into the pattern. So hopefully I won't balls this up too much. Now as I said, so this feature is technically, it's sort of a mixture of both Royal French Navy content, like the actual long-range lineup system it's activated and the model is done by Royal French Navy, but is integrated into the Enterprise package. So as I said, you definitely get more out of your add-on if you put you really want to put the Royal French Navy content in, because you do get a lot of bang for your buck in this one. So there you go. So as we were on center line there briefly, it went amber, and then sort of green as we've gone to the right of center. Tiger 8-9 on the brake. A little high on that rollout. Tiger 8-9 beams, 3 greens, sturdy. So we'll switch this over now to the ILS system. We've got our landing systems officer is live. Okay. At the 180. A little low. Use the carrier's drift to help you on this one. A little fast.
Call the ball.
3/4 mile. All manual.
Good trap. 3 wire.
Oh, right. So it's still got the 3-wire. Hell yes. Woo! Woo! Sorry, really excited for that one. Most of my traps while I've been practicing have been 2-wire or 4-wire. I have not caught a 3-wire for ages. Really happy with that one. Okay. I am going to... Okay, so a couple of things on that one. Yes, I got the call wrong. Yes, absolutely. I didn't declare my fuel tonnage, my fuel pounds, and I got some of the verbiage wrong, so I apologize for that one. Also, still has the inherent ESP sort of issue of the catapult, the arrestor hook force sometimes can sort of not catch you enough. You got to be careful, so that's why you do have power on all the way to make sure that in case you do or weird physics happen, you can keep going. That's very important. Okay, so let me just clean this up, and we will move our hawk around. I'm really excited I actually got the 3-wire for that one. I am really, really happy for that. I have not caught a 3-wire for quite a while. Okay, alright. Let's take our usual parking spot again here again, I think. Okay. Alrighty, so overall thoughts. Look, as I was saying before, I haven't got a lot of bugbears with this one. The other one that I did want to talk about is, and I don't think so much that this is a bug of this actual add-on, as I think it's more of just a sim issue, and if anything, possibly a Royal French Navy gauge bug. So there is a lot of people always ask, is there any way to start on a carrier? So with this particular one, I just brought this gauge back up because I want to show you this. There is sort of no way, unless you have a saved mission file that has the AI object of a carrier, then there's not. SimWorks Studios is working on a way to do it. I haven't seen how they do it yet, but I have a funny feeling it's going to be very similar to how this works. So what Royal French Navy does is, with their add-on, is they give you the ability to, once you've locked onto a ship that is on their compatible TACAN list, you can use the Tools button here to bring up the Go-To menu. So the Go-To menu allows you to actually be able to move your aircraft to one of a predefined set of spots on that particular ship that you're working to. So obviously for this particular one, you can go to sort of the landing area, you can go to Cat 1, Cat 2 on the bow, or Spot 1 is is a sort of parking spot sort of in the middle there near the island. Now, whenever I've tried to do this, I've found extensive issues with that. And as I said, I don't think it's an issue with this add-on. I think it's an issue just with the way, because what it's essentially doing is essentially just using the slew function of your sim to actually sort of drop you there. Now, what essentially happens is that it sort of picks up the velocity that your aircraft picks up during the slew, and it doesn't like it if the ship is moving. So if you're trying to move yourself onto one of the ships that's in the traffic file while it is moving, you end up being dumped in the ocean, sort of like, several hundred feet off the deck, or away from the carrier. So it doesn't really work. Now, even using AI carriers, I found that if the AI carriers had the ship moving, or if my aircraft did not have, if my sim wasn't paused, I'd end up flying off the deck just by moving there. The way I found to get it to work was that I'd make sure that I'd use the AI carriers to spawn the ships in place. I'd make sure that they weren't moving, so that you can just have them stationary at a spot. And I'd make sure that my aircraft was not moving on wherever land base whatever airfield I'd spawned at. And then I'd make sure that I'd pause my sim, use the Go-To tool to reposition my aircraft, and then unpause it. And I'd still get a bit of movement, but it was fairly enough that as long as you were quick on the brakes, you were pretty good. Like you generally were okay. So that's just something to be aware. As I said, I don't think it's an issue with this add-on. I think it's an issue more with the RFN gauge itself. So just something to bear in mind for that one. Yeah, but as I said, really, that's kind of the only, as I said, that and the fact that the traffic file seems to have the ships stop at the end of their, sort of half their track, instead of doing the 90-degree turn they're supposed to do and come back. That seems to be the only issue that I've had. I had it sat there for about an hour, watching to see if it would move, and it didn't. So, yeah, as I said, but does it detract from the overall quality of the add-on and what the add-on achieves? Hell no. I think that this is an incredibly well-done add-on. I think that when combined with the extras from Royal French Navy, with the Royal French Navy carrier gauge, you definitely have an amazing add-on for doing carrier ops. You genuinely do. So I think that it doesn't detract from it, and you should take the extra time and read as I said, all the details are in the manual. To do the Royal French Navy carrier gauge, you do need to put the gauge into your sim. You also need to add it into the panel configuration files of your aircraft that you want to use it on. So I said I modified it in the T45 Dino's T45 Goshawk using one of my custom liveries, and in the default MH60R that ships with prepared V4. I think it's in prepared V3 as well, but you can put it into any prepared or any ESP compatible aircraft, and all the instructions are in the Royal French Navy guide, and also in the Enterprise Team SDB Enterprise Final Cruisers guide as well. So very comprehensive. So, as I said, I think this is a great add-on. If you're wanting a bit of nostalgia as well, I think it's really, really awesome. The Big E was sort of, very famous in movies, and just for being the Enterprise, it sort of just is. It just is amazing. It was an amazing technological achievement when she served, and as I said, to be able to refly and enjoy some of her amazing cruises is pretty damn awesome. I understand from Team SDB that they are looking at updating a lot of their previous, revisiting their previous issues or releases of the Enterprise with some of the modern technologies, things that form part of the new Royal French Navy gauges, and some of the updated stuff for prepared V4. They are going to be revisiting those and including those in future updates, so keep an eye on those coming out soon. Alright, so that does round out this add-on for today. As I said, a lot in there for both fixed-wing naval aviators and for rotary-wing naval aviators. Thank you very much for joining me in this very in-depth review of this add-on here today. As we close out, I do want to say thank you very much to the it's the thing where they're called the team, isn't it? To Team SDB for providing me with the review copy of Enterprise Final Cruises for me to bring to you guys today. And as always, folks, thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NovaWing24. Alright folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.